sometimes not very regular, but used to be regular host. Good to see everybody. A rainy day here in the Southern Appalachians, a place I like to call Katua. I don't like to call it that. That's what they called it. This is Turtle Island, babies. And this is a live report from Turtle Island. All turtles are reporting for duty. And they're doing good. They're playing the shell game, moving around. Got their homes on their back. They're all like, dude, we got it all. What more do we want? What more do we want? And they want not. The first sun, the Aztec first sun, is the jaguar sun. It's a nighttime. It's a darkness. And as you progress into more and more suns, you get to about the fourth sun. I think actually it's the fifth sun starts to move. You complete a full quarter around the clock, 3, 6, 9, baby. And then you hit the 12. And then when you hit 12, you actually raise up to the next level. It's a corkscrew. And when you corkscrew up to the next level, you hit the fifth sun, and that fifth sun is a moving sun. It's a sun that moves. I've told you guys before that I think this is. Oh God, am I muted? I should not be jumping out here like everything works. But yeah, so good to see everybody. This when you wind it and do a complete cycle, you corkscrew up a level or down, depends on where you're going. Sorry, the AI is now reading my thumbs up. We'll wait for that. Thank you, AI. We don't need you. You know what? We need you. You're fine, Gaia. You're fine. You're fine. What was that talking about? The fifth sun is the sun that moves. It moves. It moves around the sky. And I've put to you before that I think the reason why the sun moves is maybe not necessarily because a new sun was formed in the sky, but that we had a conceptual memory that had enough persistence that we could track, i.e. memorize, that the sun even moved at all. I've discussed the notion of 2 steps forward, wait 15 minutes. This will fool every reptile in the world. That's all you have to do. You just... We're just going to wait here. Some of you guys are reptiles. And you're like, hey, something just happened. Something just happened. That guy just moved. And right now, you're on high alert. You're on high alert right now. That's why I'm not moving, even though my lips are moving. You can't see my lips moving because I'm ventriloquistio. Also, reptiles don't speak Italian bastardized Latin. It's kind of like Pig Latin for adults. Adults use Pig Latin to communicate outside the ears of children. You can communicate outside the realm of reptilians by speaking in Italian. Oh, thank you. The space between the lobes is where creativity comes from. The space between the lobes is where it all goes. So this fifth sun is actually a concept of memorizing the moving sun. You have a conceptual idea. Hey, the sun was there and now it's here. 2 steps forward, wait 15 minutes. Reptile forgets. There's only a certain amount of memory that they can hold on to. After a while, the novelty of you moving wears off because other novelties are just in the environment. The wind blows. Grasshopper walks by. God forbid a leaf was to fall off a tree. That reptile's busy, man. It's got a lot going on. Its tiny, cold-blooded brain, I'm not insulting it. Its tiny, cold-blooded brain does not have its own placibic bubble. This is what you and I know as warm-blooded creatures. I think it goes more than this. I think the fact that you can maintain a certain body temperature is part of your cosmology. Personally, that's what I think. And certain creatures have cosmology. They carry cosmology around with them. Others carry a more limited form of cosmology. The reptile is just one of these. That's all. And so their cosmology does not really outlast a 2-second rule. You can fool them. You can do just about anything you want to them, as long as you can just wait more than 2 seconds. This is an incredible power that you have over reptiles. Frankly, I know there are some dogs in the room. And dogs, same rules apply. And we say, RA, martyrs say, and they, Ogs day, Ost may, they, Imte. Oste, they, Imte, right? Itre? Itre? Am I a Itre? Right? Right? Some of you are having to write this down, and I would be there. I'd have to write this down too. But some of us are smarter than the average Og day, and some of us are not. But we can fool Og days the same way. We can fool them. How do you think we get into the vet? We literally lie our fucking eyes out. We look them right in the eye. We're like, "Do you want to go to the park?" And they're like, "Yeah, that sounds good." And they don't really have a concept of deceit. They certainly have play, right? They have chase and play. But I mean, you know, these guys are living in a world where their own tail is like a really fascinating object. I love this idea. I think that this is great. And I think that as you become more complex with your consciousness, you develop more calories, and the more calories are just spent naturally. And there's a time when you suddenly start to notice that the sun moves. It moves. You notice that the sun is moving. And this is the fifth sun. It's a psychological epigenetic memory of the emergence of consciousness. And that's why I think the first sun is showing you the darkness of the jaguar. Everything is brightness only. It's the rods and cones outside of your fovea, basically. Most of them are rods. Bunch of rods hanging out outside the fovea, just detecting spots. What's a leopard? It's spots. It's a spotted thing. It's very dark. It resembles the night. There's stars, and the stars peek through the veil, the coat of this jaguariga energy, and we remember that. This is why I utilize the oracle mythology all the time on this channel in my work and all such things. And that's what we're going to do today, just really quick. So hope you're doing well. I'd like to discuss the Valley of Dry Bones, Ezekiel 37. Going to try and read this in a enticing way. Some of you maybe don't know this passage. The Valley of Dry Bones, Ezekiel 37. Some of you may just be tuning in and you're like, who's this guy? And I'm like, this is exactly who this guy is. What I'm getting ready to do. This is exactly who this guy is. The hand of the Lord was on me. Oh my. And he brought me out by the Spirit of the Lord and set me in the middle of the valley. It was full of bones. He led me back and forth among them, and I saw a great many bones on the floor of the valley, bones that were very dry. He asked me, Son of man, can these bones live? I said, Sovereign Lord, you alone know. Then he said to me, Prophesy to these bones, and say to them, Dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. This is what the sovereign Lord says to these bones. I will make breath into you, and you will come to life. I will attach tendons to you, and make flesh come upon you, and cover you with skin. I will put breath in you, and you will come to life. Then you will know that I am the Lord. Now, we've discussed bone technology a lot. Yeah, we do. We talk about bone technology here all the time, Frank. And this subject comes up a lot because I'm telling you that there is a very important part of your reef. Your bones create these wormwood-like grooves that if you think fingerprints are like interesting, fucking check the texture of your bone marrow, babies. And you will find that this is an imprint that has almost a holographic kind of information inside of it. I don't say it's almost. It has a holographic kind of information. Your fingerprints, think of like two-dimensional, right? It's laid on a certain sheet. It's thin. It's that. The bones are, oh God. These guys have a lot more information. We find out so much information from them. And even more importantly, through the oracle mythology, something we talk about here all the time, which is that in order for us to consider cosmology in a serious way, we should not necessarily insist that everything happens linearly, that there's an assumption inside of science that says all things happen linearly, that there's a big bang. Of course, now we're finally saying, okay, that was just fucking making that up. And now we're like, okay, it didn't happen that way, which is, okay, fine. But why don't you just stop saying, why don't you just stop fucking saying, there's a fucking thought. And second, just do what I'm doing, which is just like, all these things are really more dependent on what our conscious level is. Because right now, we're not seeing the whole picture, guys. We have a very Homo sapiens sapiens to things, right? You know what I'm talking about. You and I were just a bunch of homos a long time ago, running around the Serengeti of Africa. We didn't know shit. Not only did we not know shit, we did not know that we did not know shit. Not only that, we did not know that we were we. That's how far behind we were. Although we weren't behind because there was no we. We didn't have a we to say, look how far behind we are. There was not that. There was I would say, more like Cabbage Patch Kids. And Greece, ancient Greece used this phrase a lot, believe it or not. Cabbage Patch Kids come from ancient Greece. If you didn't know that, you heard it here first on James True. But it's true. Hope you guys are doing well. Happy Monday. Everything's going well over here. Hope you're doing well there. It looks like I'm not muted. No one seems to be complaining. So, yeah, let's get back to the show. This is, I want to see if I can try this. Do you hear that? You should hear that, right? You should hear that. Let me know. I just want to make sure my buttons are working. It's kind of rusty. I got some buttons. They may not work right. You know what I'm saying? So, the information inside bones, I think, is purely, we don't fully understand it yet. We do not yet fully understand just how much information is there. And we have all these stories. I just told you one, Ezekiel 37. I'm going to read you from Mictlan now. Read you the ancient myth of Mictlan. Mictlan, I should say. Sorry, I misspoke. It's not Mictlan. Although Mictlan is Uncle Sam, the premature version of Uncle Sam. The red and white stripes actually come from Aztec. I talk about Mictlan a lot, so forgive me. Mictlan is the underworld in Aztec culture. It's not just Aztec culture, but I'm just trying to be brief. And I'm a layman, so there you go. Put that in your device. I guess you can't say pipe anymore because people are like, put that in your vape and vapor. Anyway, the Mictlan is this concept of the underworld, and there's this very Portafinder. Thank you so much for this super chat. It's great to be back, guys. Appreciate it. I'll tell you a little bit what I was doing, but Mictlan is this underworld place. And Mictlan, there's a very similar story. Quetzalcoatl, someone we talk about a lot. Quetzalcoatl descends into Mictlan, the Aztec underworld, to recover the bones of previous humans, remnants of past ages. These humans are guarded, but they're guarded by the Lord of Mictlan. I want you to think about Mictlan as time, as the erosion of time, okay? These bones are guarded by the erosion of time. The Lord of Mictlan is decay, right? So the underworld is the long-standing constant of the erosion of time. Think about it like that. And so the erosion of time tries to trick or stop Quetzalcoatl, this a lot of times this white figure, by the way, magic of the white figure comes down, and he utilizes what I'm calling Lord technology. Quetzalcoatl and the Lord are the same thing. They're Lord technology. And Quetzalcoatl escapes into the underworld, and he's able to prevent the trickery of time. He's able to reverse engineer the trickery of time and to escape with the bones. However, upon his escape, he falls and he shatters them. These fragments, I think this will be interesting. Maybe not necessarily for today, but these fragments, it's still the same story though, but these fragments he's able to bring back to the land of the living, and he's able to mix them with his own blood And from this fusion creates the current generation of humanity. Dramatic look. Yes. Yes, that's the Aztec story. And Quetzalcoatl, Ezekiel doing the same thing. We will go to the place where our bones are driest, and we will find shapes, codons, genetic code, inside the bones, and we will bring those shards back with us. And those shards that we bring back, we are able to recreate using our own blood. Using our own genetic template to reinvigorate an ancient lost people. This is genetic engineering. It is. Not only is it genetic engineering, but this genetic engineering is exactly necessary. It's exactly how we got here. Some of you would argue, well, we're playing with God. We shouldn't be messing with genetics. And I'm calling you a fucking hypocrite. You're a great grandfather is a fucking bigot. I mean, a hypocrite. Not a bigot. He could be a bigot. He's a hypocrite. You can be sitting there telling me how, oh, we shouldn't fuck with this is how you got here, bitch. You got here because the snake is swallowing its own tail. Future meets past because it's all one. Why do you have to insist that we live in linear time? And the answer is fear. The answer is fear. The answer is sphere. Is sphere itself. That's not... No, wait. The answer is fear itself. Is fear. There's a famous quote about fear, but I was going to play with the word sphere. I'm getting way off topic here. Oh, there's a nice rhyme. See, that didn't even... That's right, people. So, this is cool, right? This idea that these are the same, this is the same. It's the same thing. Ezekiel is led by the Spirit of the Lord into a valley filled with dry bones. He's told to prophesy to the bones. How does he prophesy? He speaks into them. He speaks with the Ruach. And I'm telling you that the Israeli people themselves are golems. They're living soil. They're living soil. The genetic code is living soil, and that something breathed life into them. And that life that was breathed into them is genetic science. Do you know why this is actually more natural than any other story you've ever heard? Do you know why? Because this is what happens in the fucking garden. Stuff pokes up. It's got a little sprout. I am a little sprout. He goes through boy sprouts, right? He gets his weebelows, right? He does the whole weebelo thing. He stays with it. He becomes a bobcat. Becomes a bear. Becomes a fucking bear. Can you believe it? Becomes a wolf. Oh my God, he's a fucking wolf now. Look at this. Goes right up through scouts, becomes tenderfoot. Reaches up out of tenderfoots. Tries to go to Eagle Scout, but you know, he's not wearing a fucking uniform in the woods anymore. Who the fuck does that? Who? Why are you wearing a uniform in the woods? Asks everyone else around him, and the Eagle Scout's like, because I want to be Eagle Scout. Last person wearing a uniform in the woods wins Eagle Scout. And that's what we're doing now, guys. That's just what we're doing. It's all right. It's all right. You got a kerchief. You're wearing a tie in the woods in a uniform. And I'm supposed to say, oh, I look up to that guy. That guy really knows his stuff because he was able to stay in the woods the longest wearing a uniform and a frickin' necktie. It's a kerchief. Oh, God. We'll let it go, man. Eagle Warrior. Caw, caw. Eagle Warrior, right? Come on. So anyway, these guys are the same guys. It's the same. It's the same. Quetzalcoatl, Ezekiel, same things. Both of them are finding a way to recreate humanity by stretching into the oldest things that are in the earth and to pull them back out. And this is what plants do. Root balls do this. A root ball has it. Oh, I got it. I got lost on the sprout thinking a sprout was a scout. And I just lost it. Ended up in a musical interlude because of that. But yeah, it's like a root ball, you know. You got a root balls and roots got balls and they sprout back up and they come back up again. And every single time that you see a tulip pop up, you're looking at advanced technology. That this bulb was once more advanced. It's true. Think about the linear bigotry that you all suffer from. Look at me swiping look at you, linear bigots. All you raised by linear bigots. Every one of you raised by linear bigots. And that if under linear bigotry, then when you were to look at a tulip, the bulb of a tulip is an unadvanced, never before, unnatural to think of itself as advancing, the muck of the earth, the worst possible seed, the most evil thing ever made. This is how linearists look at us. We insist every single thing we are is there was the 50s. This was the best thing. It's like, bitch, we were throwing trash out the window in the 50s. Stop telling me it was that great. I mean, I get it. You're like, oh, it's so fucking great. It's like, look, it's a tulip, man. It's a tulip. There's a lot of layers to this thing. You're falling in love with it, and I'm proud of you for that. I think you're supposed to. This is a beautiful thing that's made. But if you're going to look at a tulip and say that anything that's a bulb is awful and it's not godly divine, it's just not understanding what time is. That actually the most powerful thing you could have is a seed, if you think about it. It's a sacred language. Sacred language. All of us walking around with seeds in our pants. It's true. It's true. Charged, missing a genetic signature. Literally. The only part of you that's a seed, if you want to call it an egg or an ovum or an avu or whatever, legume, lego my legume, it's fine with me. The point is that there's one part of you that's missing another part, and someone else has one part of them that's missing another part. And when you guys get together, fireworks, right? And we end up bringing an advanced technology back from a cataclysm through a stargate. No big whoop. This is how everything works. I mean, I'm looking around. This is how everything works. All the stuff works this way. So this idea that we would be reset and that we would use the ancient technology again and again and we would reach for it again and again is really just gardening. Just gardening. Now you're surrounded by plants that think gardening's evil. I don't know why. I honestly thought it was a joke. First time I heard people saying that like yoga was satanic, I was waiting for the punchline. I was just like, this is gonna be cute. It's like people are like wandering around, just like, yeah, stretching is fucking satanic, and I'm just like, oh, you okay? Is it physical therapy? It's fucking satanic, man. James, if you don't know the Luciferian satanic agenda working its way through the yoga community, you're not gonna make it. And I'm just like, I just kind of looked the other way on that. I was just like, this is just an inside joke I don't know about. I'm at the festival and these guys are here. They're pulling people into and I'm like, they're getting more popular. There's more. There's more of that. People are like, how come you don't have a beard? It's like, cause I fucking shaved. Like, why are you doing shaving? It's like, cause I have a face. What? Why? You guys okay? You guys are, it's like yoga's satanic. And I'm just like, wow. I don't know how to talk to that. And I don't want to scare him. I don't want to scare him. I'm not no mascara. I'm not, you know what I mean. Yeah, broccoli is smoked, dude. Of course, William. I know exactly what you're talking about. Smoking broccoli. Jolly Green Giant. There's probably something there. There is. So this, you think I'm done? I'm not done. I got at least one more slide. The goal is to retrieve bones to recreate humanity, right? Go down to Mictlan. Say, hey guys, how's it going? There's usually a game. There's a cosmic game down there. Now, this is Aztec, but the Popol Vuh, the twins I told you about, they go down the underworld to do the same thing. They go the same thing, but when they go to the underworld lady's like, I want you to play a game. I want you to play with this ball. He was like, I want you to touch my rubber ball. It's true. And they're like, all right, what's the worst that can happen? And then they start a cosmic game. And honestly, that's just conscious memory of civilization. When you start to look at the early moving of Aztlan, so the Aztecs used to live in a place called Aztlan. It was north. And that they were a wandering tribe of wanderers, and that they carried the bones of their religion with them. I want you to picture a tabernacle in the wilderness. Yeah, I want you to picture a Lord technology in Mexico. And I want you to apply what I told you in the beginning about the fifth sun, being that you've developed enough calories in your brain to start remembering things beyond two steps forward, right? Beyond the reptilian, you're able to remember, hey, yesterday at this time, a giant fiery ass fucking ball rose over that mountain and lit this whole place fucking up like a volcano. And that there would be people who lived in your cave, assuming you could have language, okay? There's a stretch here, but assuming that there are people in your cave that can understand you, they're going to look at you like you're fucking crazy. They're going to be like, did you just say a fucking giant fiery ball is going to rise up over the mountain and fucking engulf this whole place in golden light? What do you... I don't know how you and I can have a creative conversation about how we got here if you cannot imagine that human consciousness was just not linear. It wasn't always the same. That it was on a trajectory, this is probably better, that it wasn't on a trajectory of growth, that it didn't have a part where it was less conscious now, where it was more reptilian, where it was closer to cold-blooded, that our phonological loop used to be capable of remembering roughly 7 things, and that even now, in a generation now, I am one who can remember 10 things. And I am nowhere near the 16-bit, 32-bit architecture of what we would call someone on the spectrum right now. That all these are just simply advances in the flow of tulips. Tulips enveloping, spreading their petals, and unleashing ancient technology that's been there before. In order for them to unleash this ancient technology, you are going to have to behold ancient technology being formed now, because the ripple would go backwards in time for one who is bigoted towards linear thinking. The causal effect of time itself makes you and I both kind of bigots when it comes to that. That linear idea is built into us because, honestly, because of how much our thalamus rewards us for predicting causality. As long as you have a thalamus that's given all its casino chips to anyone that can predict causality, you are going to end up strapped to a belief church, a sacred chair in the belief church of time itself that is forcing its religion upon you. Its dogmatic causality is kind of pushed upon you. It's set into you in a pressured way to where you, quite frankly, could not feel good to oppose it even. And you can see around this, just like you can see around water molecules. You've been doing this for 100,000 years. You used to not be able to do that. And you can see around this too. You can inherently predict the quantum behind objects. It's why there's this thing called quadrillion bazillion atoms separating you from me through this camera, through the fiber optics, through the copper, through all the things that connect, through the binary gates itself of the Cisco routers that hold all this fabric of the mycelium together. You and I are able to see pictures of each other that aren't actually there. What else are you going to do, though? What else are you going to do? You're going to live on the surface just like I am because we stay sane. But the surface is not always there. So hard not to tell you about Africa right now. I'm just trying as hard as I can to keep my mouth shut because I've been working on this book. It's why I've been absent. I've been working on this rewrite of this book set in Africa. But I have to tell you about this Stargate. There's a western rift and an eastern rift that wrap around the eye. This Kenyan dome, it's labeled here at least. That this giant liquid eye is separated by these rifts, these scars, these tears in the earth. And that these tears in the earth are known as the Cradle of Humanity, a term I'm sure that you've heard, but these tears are so violent, so immensely powerful that you end up with samples of jawbones, of femurs, of fragmented life that existed so long ago, so perfectly preserved. I am not exaggerating when I tell you that the bones that they pull out of this rift, out of this vaginal gate into the future past, into this other world, you're looking at a rift that defies time itself, because the part I'm not exaggerating about is that the bones that they find here are still moist. They are still wet. They have information in there that is still fresh. It is still breathing, which means that the air, the atmosphere itself is still drinking from its light. Homo sapiens sapien is a very special kind of tumor on your frontal lobe that created a very special kind of module that attached itself to your brain that allowed you to see into the future, that you stepped out of the reptilian mindset of 2 seconds and you started to proselytize, to expand your phonological loop in 2 ways using the same calories. You're able to see what everything that happened to you before, which is a reflexive reptilian response, and you're able to speculate on everything that will happen to you from this moment on. A mammalian, Promethean future casting on the same neural net. So it's not only have you invented zero, you've invented negative numbers. And the negative numbers fit in the same slots that you had positive numbers before, and that they're interchangeable. This is the closest analogy I can give you to just getting you to see who the fuck you actually are. And that this XY, this idea that you can linearly move into negativity through your past, which is where you typically have perfected yourself enough that now you can go into this other part. You can go to the other side of the axis and you can start to proselytize using your placebo, fantasizing about what might happen if you tugged on this particular kind of leaf and knew that if you pulled it just right, a fucking carrot would pop out of the ground. And you'd just be like, oh my God. And all the girls are like, what did you just do? And you're like, no big whoop. I just pulled it. You wanna some of my carrot? And she's like, oh my God. This is great. And you start to unlock the same kind of pharaonic magic, pharaoh magic. as if a bunch of people believed that you could raise the sun simply by raising your palm because you got up at 4 a.m. and you did it every day. And you did it every day so long that we're at the reptilian loop, that 2-second rule, you outstretched it and you end up with people that literally think that you were able to raise the sun. And that you, living among them, having this special frontal lobe, you being this Achilles, this special thing, not a weakness, in fact, not at all, but this special thing, you had more holes in your skin. You had the ability to run farther. You had less muscle. You had less brute force. You were able to stay in the sun. You were able to socially interact with each other because you're able to speculate upon what might happen if you hunted together. You ceased gathering, you started hunting. The moment you started hunting, you started eating more calories. The moment you started eating meat, it was fucking over. That frontal lobe is like, I am hungry. And your Neanderthal friends are eating acorns. Not only are they eating acorns, but they're living in a first sun. They're living in a fourth sun that still doesn't move. It doesn't move because it's just permanent. And at nighttime, guess what? That's just permanent. And that sunset and sunrise don't exist unless you have the phonological loop to speculate what just happened. It's a little bit brighter. What's about to happen, I think it might get even brighter. What just happened is a little bit brighter. That what might happen, it might get brighter. That even the sunrise and the sunset themselves are one of the most special grow lights that's causing your consciousness to want to grow its own loop, its own ability to predict future past. That itself is the meaning of consciousness itself. This is the essence of what consciousness is. And that this essence, that all these things that came out of this, came out of the rift, baby. They came out of the rift, and the rift is still here. It is still here. The saltiest parts of Africa are in the Ethiopian Dome. Some of the most acidic language, some of the most violent forms of life live there now. You'd think this would be the most popular spot in the world geographically for a maritime operation, and it's not. It's not. And below this salty ass how do I say penis without saying penis? This peninsula penis, you have this giant sack, this rift. And you know what's fascinating is that on the east side of this sack, you may see it in the picture here, but on the east side is volcanic fire, and on the west side is erupting water, deep water. So you have this fire and ice, this fire and water drilling at each other and creating this pocket that quite frankly has created not just the Homo sapien, but the Homo sapien sapien. That twice out of Africa there came a huge, a splooge. A splooge erupted from this rift itself twice. That two of the major Homo erectus, Homo Bernardus, I don't fucking know shit, but two of the leading species of Homo sapien sapien erupted in two different eras from the same spot, from the same crevice in the earth. The rift is one of the most beautiful places you can go to, and it's one of the most terrifying places you hear stories about. That people go to the rift and they're unable to come out. That there is something about the consciousness there that just swallows you whole. And it's not necessarily evil. It is sometimes referred to as the mouth of hell, but it's also screaming some of the most beautiful things that you've ever seen. You could imagine that this place may be so entranced, so beautiful. The mist itself that's pouring, the rainbows that you're seeing through this would create a veil, a curtain, where you would slip out of this land of the lost and into this cavernous past that had no future or past. It was just this different realm, this Sleestackian realm where all the bones are moist. And when the bones are moist, the atmosphere around you has this flavor, this epigenetic intelligence is in the salt in the air, and you're drinking this, you're breathing this, you're putting it into your lungs, and it's changing you. It's changing you. One of the things that happened with Quetzalcoatl is he used his own blood. And that one of the things I think that we will find it necessary to do, especially when it comes to surviving a cataclysm, is not advance man's seed, but to find some type of preservational ark, an ancient kind of genetic boat that we would be able to place ourselves inside of, that could survive a rift, that could come back in a very different place, not as a tulip fully formed, but as that bulb that's here to survive a cataclysmic winter. This is all technology. It's hard to imagine it's technology because you haven't done the math yet. You haven't looked at the wheat. You haven't looked at the corn. You haven't seen how ancient this is. It's fun to play with ancient megaliths. I'm not knocking it. But if you really want to look at ancient building technology, just look at corn. Look at the transposons. Look at the movements. Look at the ancient things that we've done to things like wheat, to the way that we've invigorated and brought things up. This is the most greenest technology around. It's so green that we don't even recognize it as such. It would be so ubiquitous, the technology would be so ubiquitous that you and I could grab a round nugget of tree meat off a branch, and it would have seeds inside of it. It would have all the vitamins and nutrients that would make it taste good. It would give you an invigorating feeling inside to have it, and that we would call that an apple, and not once would we ever recognize that this is really no different than a bag of chips from a vending machine. It's really not. It's really not. It has a purpose. It has a propagation. It's a technology that's designed to be bulletproof. It's a technology that's designed to be here to offer you something. I've said this before, but without oranges, without limes, we would never be able to traverse the oceans like we had. If you were looking to make sure that culture survived in the next cataclysm, you would want them to have oranges and limes. You would want that. You would want that to stay. You would find ways to have olives. The tree itself, one of the oldest root balls, these olive trees are like thousands and thousands of years old. And the technology inside of them would invigorate a new template that as they ate it, this template would start to awaken neural pathways, which would lead to certain kinds of technology that would develop that would be no different than you being the very first guy in the cave that says, I think sun will come up. And everyone goes, sun not come up, sun die. We all must sacrifice child. No, me think sun come up. You wait. What does wait mean? Wait for water drip from tray. What is tray? I know no tray. But it's this idea that struggling consciousness, that the advantages that you would have to being this frontal lobed, placibic being, the capability to lie, the capability to fantasize, would already create the superhero status that you'd be living among these others that would have no fucking concept of what's going on. And if you can see that easily, which you should be able to, it should be even easier to imagine that we would be those, that we are those Neanderthals now, that we are the ones that are trying to learn and trying to understand, and more importantly, trying to remember without freaking out. That's ultimately what we're doing here. We want to remember who we are without freaking out. And we're not doing a good job. A lot of people are freaking out. A lot of people are insisting we have to find the linearist. The linearist majoritarians are going to have to give us an answer, and if they don't give us an answer right now, then we're in trouble. And we enter into this society that we have. And that's technology too. So I can't even bitch about it. It's led me to say what I'm saying to you now. It's led you to have your own thoughts about it. It's led you to take it even further. And so all I am is a root reaching into the past, but because I'm a linearist, I don't recognize it as that. I don't recognize that I'm a root that begins the day I die and reaches its way into the past, into 1971, and that's where its first finger is. I don't think that way. I don't think that way at all. And that's bigotry. That's not even correct. I shouldn't even be thinking that way. I shouldn't. We have a dojo today. Be great if you come. It's at 12:30. That's 25 minutes. You have enough time to grab a drink, make some more coffee if you want. Look at your dog in a whole new way from some of the things we talked about. And you can join us then. Should be fun. Moderated by Lori. Looking forward to it today. I do not know my schedule this week. I wanted to check in. I really appreciate you guys. As I said, I've been working on this book. I'm not done yet. It's really coming along good. It came along so well that I could at least take today and just check in and say hi and make sure everything still works. So might be a quiet week for me. I don't even know yet, but I at least wanted to say I appreciate you guys. Hope you guys are doing well. I miss being behind the mic. I also love writing though, so I appreciate the opportunity that you guys give me to allow that to happen. And we will be still doing dojos regardless, because I can still do that. So if you're missing James True Live, it's a great opportunity to subscribe to the Dojo World channel. You should check that out. There's a link somewhere that'll take you there. But that Dojo World channel, we did I think we did twice last week. I think it was twice last week that we met. So there's that. I can't give you the link because it might mess up the stream, but hopefully someone on chat will put that in there for you. But yeah, you can check that out too. If you can't make today's Zoom, then if you just wait a little bit, we'll be uploading that to the Dojo Work channel. After that, it's great to see you guys. Good to see you guys too. And yeah, appreciate being here. Thanks for watching James True. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think about this Valley of the Bones. And the idea that, as I've said before, I think Lord Technology is just that. I've discussed with you the over 20 of the deities that could easily be the collection of belief among consciousness that's starting to grow and rise. To recognize God is to recognize that the sun moves. And that when you recognize that the sun moves, you're looking at a different kind of creature. And if you were a farmer, you would notice when your tomatoes can now recognize the sun, that the sunflowers are now tracking the sun, which means they have the technology inside of them to remember such things and to move to such things just on a much more complex level. And that's what's happening to us now. That's why it's hard for me to argue that the world's broken. I think the world's just painful for people that think it's broken. I think the world's painful for people that think it's broken. And that's why I try and tell you that I think that it can be painful and not broken at the same time. I think that's possible. I think that's possible because I've noticed that with nature a lot. I'll encounter nature that didn't deserve what it deserves, but it's going through something very painful. And people are just driving by. We're just driving by. So I've noticed that that's how the world is. It's not a human thing. It's not an AI thing. It's not a technology thing. It's not a God thing. It's literally how this whole place works. if you think about it, even suffering is simply bringing your brain online. It's bringing you out of the cave to have experiences that are strong enough to where it forces you to remember. And so as you learn what suffering is, you also start to learn to speculate about the sun. And after you've mastered the sun, people tend to catch up. But then you have Venus, this fascinating planet that, quite frankly, Maya was one of the first cultures to even discover that Noctiferus and Luciferus were the same, that the rising Venus and the descending Venus, the one that came before the dawn, the one that came at night, were the same planet. This required a very, very potent fifth sun kind of memory to store this thing. And that's why when you look at ancient astronomy, you'll see that they were classified as two different planets, except for the Mayans. The Mayans are like, no, those are the same. And they're the same because the stars themselves were causing us to tune our brains to go, what the fuck is that? What is that? Which is why I tell you why I think peculiar, things being peculiar, is one of the more potent kind of neurological miracle grow chemicals that we have. When your brain finds something peculiar, is when you are firing on the most cylinders and you're seeking to burn neurons that you've never burnt before. This is the element of surprise. And that all of us love birthday gifts. We love Christmas gifts. We love that surprise. Most of us love those, I should say. And that those really are bursting at new constellations in our mind, because now we know when I was 39, I had this constellation explode because someone bought me a teddy bear. There. Everything that we do and think about really comes down to an explosion in our brain of a neuron pulse that we either really associate with, we like, or we really disassociate with, either through apathy or through pain. These would be different vectors, but ultimately all of reality comes down to this platonic realm where certain neurons are triggered. These neurons you would call the monad. It's a universal place. It really does just come down to sodium and potassium firing, exploding. And that those flavor crystals really are at the heart of every experience you've ever had. Every single thing that's ever happened to you is a flavor crystal. And you built a matrix around those and insisted this is what reality is. And I say keep doing it. I think you're doing great. But as we discover these things, the more subtle things that you find are leading you out of this cave to where you cease to be modern day Neanderthal, and you step into a different place where you're looking at the Luciferian agenda. You're looking at this larger garden that's unfolding. And you're not only you're cool with it, you totally get why it's necessary. You totally watch how freaked out people are. And you totally get why it's necessary. Necessary. It wouldn't be a roller coaster if it wasn't. It wouldn't happen that way. It would not happen that way. Appreciate you guys. Hey, come to Dojo. It'd be fun. 18 minutes.